week.
Okay. This is where you would traditionally enter an Orthodox church. It's called the narthex. The narthex has icons of the patron saint of the church. In this case, we've got a whole setup that shows the life of Prophet Elijah, Prophet Elias, over here. And on the left side of the narthex, it's traditionally the place you light candles for those who are dead to remember. Then there's always one on this side of the Mother of God. One over here. This is generally where you put candles to remember the living.
Candles in there last time.
Yes.
Oh wow.
And so these are all icons from the scenes of the life of Christ.
Wow.
We have these were all painted by a local iconographer who lives in Felton. Her name is Tatiana Romanova Grant.
Tatiana Romanova.
Romanova Grant.
Romanova Grant. Romanova.
Like the Tsars.
Yes. Yes. So the traditional way of entering is you come in, you reverence the icons.
How do you do? How do you reference them?
You reverence.
How does that?
Observe.
Okay.
I will make a physical demonstration.
Okay.
Reverencing an icon.
Oh.
And that's the way you reference an icon.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You kiss him on the lips?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Please, outside. I'm talking, I can't.
Oh, sorry.
I appreciate that. So this is,
You're a better tour guide than he is.
put yourself in mind that in those days,
I suggest you get tour guide. The man over here seems really
I just showed them the narthex.
Okay.
It's okay. Don't worry about it, Jonathan.
Yeah. Father can actually explain the vestments and such better than I can. The vestments?
Oh, sure.
Well, originally, when they were developed, were the Emperor Constantine the Great, who ended the persecution of Christians. He decreed that all the Christian clergy should wear robes like an upper-class Roman citizen. And what happened was, over the course of time, people's clothing patterns changed, but for the clergy, it just became very stylized, and it lost the original meaning and acquired a spiritual one. For instance, this robe here, the inner one, you would call it in English an habit. Originally, it was a tunic. And it is now it represents purity. It's very plain, so that it reminds the priest that we should be, as far as possible, clean from sin.
One's black?
Well, this happens to be my black set. So it's black because this is the morning set. But it's very plain. Normally it's a light color, but it blends well with this set. We have different colors for the different types of the year. White is for Easter. Purple is for the Lenten period. Red is for Pentecost or Feast of a Martyred Saint. Green is for the Cross. Blue is for the Virgin. Gold is our everyday color. This garment here, which hangs around the neck, can you imagine what this originally was? It's now sewed together, but originally it was separate. It was a scarf.
Like a scarf, yeah. Or a shawl.
And now it represents the cross of Christ. On the back of it, there is embroidered a cross on the neck. And it now represents that the priest has to bear his cross, and also it represents the souls of the people entrusted to the care of the priest. It's like a yoke, because it's on our neck if we lead anybody astray. The belt here, originally was just an ordinary belt. Now it represents like a belt that a spiritual weightlifter would use. A weightlifter puts a belt on to give himself more strength, so that the priest must gird himself with strength in God and faith in God to be able to battle the evil one. On the wrist, you see cuffs. And originally they were just cuffs. Now they represent chains. chains that bound Saints Peter and Paul, that the hand of a priest should be bound for committing sin, that a hand should be stretched to bless and do works of good, not works of evil. This garment here, can you imagine what this originally was?
Oh,
No?
maybe like something to put the Bible behind? A handkerchief? Really?
It's a handkerchief.
Oh, but there's cardboard.
Now it's stiff,
Oh.
and it's diamond-shaped to represent the sword of faith, that we have to have faith in God
Where-
to battle the evil one, Satan and his ministers.
Was it usually kept in a pocket?
It was. Now, in the Roman Catholic Church, their ritual, in the pre-Vatican II, they hung it down
Huh.
from the arm.
Oh, right. Yeah,
But
yeah.
now, what we have, it's called in Greek,
vampire sneeze
the
comes from.
epigmation, which means hanging about the knee. Because it
Huh.
hangs about the knee. It's given to Greek Orthodox clergy who are spiritual father. I happen to be a spiritual father, and so I can hear confession. This garment here, originally it was a cloak, and it fell all the way around, equally around. It was like a poncho. Had a hole here, but it was a cumbersome garment. In the Roman Catholic Church, in the East too, you needed a deacon on either side to lift it up so the priest could use his hands. So that's cumbersome. So what happened was, in the Western Church, they cut it from the side, and so that it fell in the front and the back. And that was called a fiddleback or Roman-style chasuble. In the Orthodox East, it was cut from the front, so that the priests were able to use our hands this way. I could wear a little stovepipe flat-top hat, which any married priest could wear. No, not like Abe. No brim. And then if you were a celibate priest, you would attach a veil to it. It would look like that third icon over there with the veil on it. But my wife's a priest, I might just have curiosity to buy one. Just so I can show people this is what it would look like. At certain times in the service, you could actually wear that hat. Again, the different colors. This is also called in Greek the polystolos, which means many crosses, because it has many crosses. But when the priest dressed in the armor, we try to bring ourselves to certain religious items of life. So we're not trying to bring ourselves to the Oh, I don't think you would like them. This actually is a little short. You can tell by the building it's a little short, but maybe I should crouch down a little bit. When I had these made, they used it, they said I was the same size as their dummy, and I said that was symbolic. But I said the dummy is a little short, so it's always a little short for me. These are some of the holy vessels we would have even in the church. In the Orthodox Church, most of our items are gold or silver because they're used for holy purposes and they contain something very holy, like it may contain holy water, or like the chalice. It contains the wine which we believe becomes the blood of Christ. It has images of grapes and wheat on it, or grapes, this has just grapes. Sometimes it has at the base of it the apostles too. This is the paten. In Greek you would call it the diskos. You know the term discus? That's the plate. And this is the mount, and it has an icon of the Virgin Mary holding the Christ child. It's similar to the icon there. Her arms are outreached as if to embrace humanity.
How's
And
she
it's-
holding them?
Well, he's sitting in her lap.
I once learned all the gestures of the Virgin Mary in
Really?
an art history class, but I can't remember. Do you know what this one is called?
It's called the Paniaton
Yes.
Unanon,
Yes.
which is she who is wider than the heavens.
Yes, and what is the one which she's gesturing towards Christ child called?
She usually is almost always gesturing to the
And
Christ. She's always either pointing to or placing her hand upon the person.
And what is that called again?
And the reason she does that is when you look at the icon of the Virgin. Oh, this is a beautiful one here. I like this one.
Called,
Look at it. You tend to
called,
look
I
at
should know
her.
this, I should know
But
this.
she's gesturing with her hand. Don't look at me. Look at Christ.
Yeah,
He's the path of
what is that
salvation.
called? Do you remember?
I don't know the name of it.
I should know this because I took a Byzantine art history class.
Really?
Yeah, with Alan Langdale. Maybe you know him.
No, I do not know.
Great professor though.
I don't know
It's
all
gonna.
the
I'm gonna.
There were over 300 terms
I
to
know.
describe the Virgin Mary.
And I almost had to learn all of them.
The Pania Pantava Siddhisa, the Pania Diadosa.
Whatever it's called, it means gesturing towards the Christ child. And there's a certain name.
And often you see Christ looking up, not this one, and not that one. Sometimes you see angels holding the cross and the instruments of crucifixion.
Right.
It's because he knew at a very early age what his destiny was. And so he's looking like he's fighting, but he's holding on to his mother.
Sure.
But he knows what his destiny is.
I think it may start with an A. Does that ring a bell? No? Okay.
It might be because I'm just very tired.
Okay, sure.
But you're a Greek yourself?
No, I'm not actually. My mother is Italian. My father is actually Turkish.
Okay.
And I've been to Greece several times, and been to Samos. I've been to Rhodos. Been to Athens.
Wonderful. My wife's family, she's Greek, but they're from Anatolia, Asia Minor.
Oh wow.
And so her grandparents, one set of grandparents were from the island of Marmara,
Sure.
near Constantinople or Istanbul, and
Oh,
the
my
others were
goodness.
from Chesme, which is near
Cheshme. Cheshme.
Chesme. I didn't know how to pronounce
Oh,
it.
sure.
It's near what we used to call Smyrna. It's not Izmir.
Izmir,
Yeah.
and Kushadasi, where where Ephesus is. The Temple of Artemis at
Artemis,
Ephesus is
one
there.
of the several
Yeah,
wonders.
I've been there several times.
We keep hoping one day to go to Greece, and I love to go to Turkey as well, just to see some of the many. In Turkey, so many.
Yeah. But it's all tradition. It's all Greek. You know, mostly
Unless
everything.
you go to the Hittites.
Yeah, of course.
But Anatolia, even His
Oh, you're making me like fatherland sick right now.
I've always wanted to visit them. I used to work at my University of Cincinnati, where I attended.
Okay.
This is where I worked in the classics department, and I would work there, and they had all these vases and artifacts from not Dorfield. It was called Blasian's excavations at
I wish my mom was here right now. Actually, she was an archaeologist, and she studied Italian studies and classical studies.
Okay.
And she in graduate school she studied at the American School of Classical Studies in Kolonaki in Athens.
Okay. All right.
And she went on many digs, and that's how she met my father, because she got to go on a very small vacation.
All right.
And she went to my father's very, very small hometown, and yeah.
You're very fortunate.
I wish she.
Are you both an Italian and Turkish citizen?
No, I'm not yet. But for many reasons, it hasn't happened yet.
I told my wife they had a Greek law that if your grandparents were born in Greece, you could apply for citizenship.
This is what Turks say too.
I checked with. It's interesting. I checked with the Greek government. They said that only applies for if you're in Greece.
Well,
I said we have to buy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, if you would go to my father's hometown. Near a nearby city, the larger city is Mersin. I'm sure, like.
What part of Turkey is it?
Silifke.
Where is that?
Southern Turkey. It's right next to Tashaju and Tarsus. It's right across from.
Cilicia.
Right.
Ancient Cilicia.
Okay.
Oh,
it's right across
I'm
from.
thinking the Roman.
It's right across from Cyprus.
Oh yes.
It's right there.
Oh right.
And Kizkalesi is there.
Okay.
It's a city. It's a beach town, and there's a castle in the middle of the water.
Cool.
I believe it might be Hittite or it might be Ottoman, but you're making me like fatherland.
There was just recently, about a couple months ago, and my father-in-law was here, and his girlfriend, and she's from Asia Minor too, background, and so there was a talk on the churches of Asia Minor, the interior.
Wow.
And it was fascinating. They had the priest there. It was his father, I knew, and he had visited the places, and some are actually lost, some are just ruins. But it was interesting to show. He was talking about his adventures in Anatolia, and the most beneficial were the imams because a lot of the churches became mosques, but they preserved them. And he said, well, here, we'll show you.
Sure.
We'll pull this back, and here's this fresco of a saint. And he said, well, he said, I like it. And I said, we'll keep it there, but we have to cover it because,
Sure.
But it was interesting because he said you could see the architectural features because up until 22, I mean, there was a large Greek presence, and then you had that terrible war. I remember elderly Greeks who had spent. I said, how'd you get along? I said, we got along fine. The war came, and then the army came in.
I'm an extreme pacifist. I don't believe in anything like this, and I really believe that one day world peace can be achieved.
I pray so. It makes me. I shudder in the Middle East because people have long memories. And they don't seem to want to forget.
Yeah, and I live by this really great quote. It's when the world says give up, hope whispers, try it one more time.
You know. I pray so too. I mean, I know I was talking to some Greek. He said, his family was Asian Minor. I said, I'm not. That's really Greek land. I don't care if 10,000 years it's still. And I said, please.
Okay.
You know, you can't blame the people today.
No, of course.
It's somebody's fault. I mean, I tell some Greeks did the Roman Catholics says, we remember 1204, the attack of Constantinople. I said, there's no crusader left that did that. I said, they're all dead. I said, what are you? I said, you know what?
But then they bring up, it's in their blood, and we're still family, and this kinds of things. And there always will be, those sour people that. But I think, hopefully one day, I think that will.
I pray so, but it would take, I think, more time. And people have to, just respect each other. I think there's a lot that can be done, and I think if we have enough people of goodwill, I don't want to take you away.
Okay, no, it's fine. No, you are very. No, those are beautiful. I was at a Greek festival this time last year, at the Greek Orthodox Church in Berkeley.
Oh, Berkeley. Okay.
Yeah. It was
a metropolitan there that I went to school with. Metropolitan Nikita.
Okay. There was also, in June last year, there was a Greek festival in Concord at the Greek Orthodox. It's in the Bay Area in East Bay. I don't know if you're familiar with the area.
No, not too much. I mean, I drove up to Sacramento and drove through Oakland, which is a big city. I was surprised. And I've been to Belmont and I'm Atherton and San Jose. Of course, I've been to. So I'm slowly learning my way around.
Are you Greek? No. Where do you?
My ancestors were. I'm mostly German, Irish, and French, and some English too. So I know where my relatives. I still have relatives in France, but my family's been over here so long. But my wife's family, they came over. After 22.
Oh, wow.
So it's interesting. They were telling me, I spoke with a great aunt before she died, first met her, and she was telling me stories about, so-and-so was in the Turkish army, so-and-so lived in Egypt, Suez Canal area, worked there. The Greeks were traveled throughout the Ottoman Empire. And so Hellenism, was really widespread in terms of the Greek diaspora.
Hellas, right? When you say Hellas.
Hellas, or the Hellenic diaspora.
Sure, Do you speak ancient Greek or Greek?
No, I speak some Greek, but my Greek is pretty weak.
I'm sure that's not true.
It would be very difficult.
You seem very humble and not wanting to boast.
You're very sweet to say that. I had 4 years of Greek and 4 years of Latin, actually.
Oh my goodness.
My Latin actually was better than my Greek.
Oh my goodness.
Because I learned it at a younger age. Pater noster qui in caelis. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum benedicta. In nome Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
All of it I know in Latin. Another thing that I live by, carpe diem, but how about also carpe noctem as well? Seize the day and seize the night,
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I had a friend of mine that was originally was a Roman Catholic seminarian and studied Latin, and he became Greek Orthodox priest, but he would write sometimes to me in Latin and said, this is the only time I get to use my Latin. I said, okay, I understand.
Oh my, do you still like study Latin? Because it's
No.
How do you get your?
I don't. But I still recognize it. Like I used to collect Roman coins.
Oh my gosh!
And you look at it and say, ooh, okay.
Oh my gosh!
The goddess of fortune and concord.
Oh my goodness!
And I would translate.
Are there any people in your church community that speak Latin or have a knowledge of Latin?
We do have a professor who is actually a history professor and actually is a linguist.
Oh, good.
And he is our chanter, and he knows Latin and a number of.
Do you ever converse with him to practice? No?
I don't know ecclesiastical Latin, which is the easy Latin that people usually speak.
What do you know?
Latin I studied was classic Latin, like Cicero.
I'm sure that's my mom. Yeah, my mom.
The ecclesiastical Latin, which is what actually my friend used to write me, is a little simpler. It's like it's like the Motiki, the modern Greek, which is simplified. Then the Hellenistic Greek, which is the Greek that the Gospel is written in, as well as the Greek that our Lord would have heard, or Alexander the Great would have heard. But that's different than the Greek of classic Greek, which is Plato. That's more. That's different.
Yeah.
It's like English has evolved as well.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, Shakespearean English is different than the English today, as it is different from the old English from Beowulf's time, which is almost Germanic.
Right, yeah.
Are you recording me?
Is that okay? Is that okay?
Yes. It's interesting, I was trying to...
I should have asked.
I was using my phone to try to videotape some of the dancing on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I have to download it and see if it's successful. As long as it doesn't go to YouTube,
Sure.
that's fine.
Okay. That's where I was going to put it, so I could send it to my mom and things. But if you don't want that, then...
I haven't said anything controversial, so that's...
No, of course not.
I remember once I had a wedding and somebody fainted and they asked me to sign... the groom passed out, hit his head on the table, and they asked me to sign a release to America's Funniest Videos. And I paused and I thought that, and I said, all right, and I signed it. And then wouldn't you know, years later, a police called me up and said, I was watching TV and I could have swore I heard your voice. And then I said, I said, are you sure? He said, I'm almost positive that was you. This guy passed out. I said, okay, I hope he won something.
You had your 15 minutes of fame that everyone talks about.
No,
What's your name again, by the way?
No, as priests, we're often interviewed for our community. So I remember once they interviewed me for a festival. And I said, we have this, we have that. And they said, Father, we don't have these things. And I said, well, I didn't know you didn't give me a menu.
Sure.
So I was just going Greek food items.
Sure. What do I call you as? Father what?
English is Father Dennis.
Father
but my
Dennis?
name is Father Dionysios.
Father Dionysios, like Dionysus. Or no?
Yes,
Is it different?
Yes. Dionysus is more than a Raspian pronunciation.
Okay.
But Dionysios is the Greek pronunciation.
Okay.
And it's not for the god, it's for the first, the convert of St. Paul. He converted Dionysios, who was a judge in Athens, and he is traditionally believed to have been the first bishop of Athens. And according to some legends, he went to France and became the first bishop of Paris, too, and is considered one of the French saints as well. Sort of interesting. There's a little French, too.
Well,
now, you're students with the Latin?
Yeah.
Would you call him Jonathan?
Yeah, he's my friend. We just, I met him about 3 or 4 months ago, I think, maybe in like late winter. He's a great.
I call him Vladimir. I know his English name is
Jonathan.
Jonathan. We all have.
Sometimes I call him John or something.
Oh, interesting.
I have another really, really great friend named John, but they're like completely polar opposites. It's quite and they both know each other. So, but thank you for everything. Thank you for all of that knowledge. Thank you so much.
I'm a master of useless trivia.
Thank you. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Τίποτα. Έχετε καλή μέρα. Θα είστε εδώ αργότερα.
Όλα καλά.
Όλοι καλά. Which is actually where we get okay.
No way.
Okay. Όλοι καλά. Okay.
Όλοι καλά. Okay.
Yeah. somehow it's just corrupted.
Sure.
Okay.
Even in Scandinavian languages, they say okay, but their okay ends in a J.
Oh, sure.
But the J is pronounced as a Y.
Sure.
Thank gosh, thank you.
I have a question.
And the full glory of God.
I want to go down.
These are actually
I hope so.
like